Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Harvey. Let me talk to you today about something that looks simple on the surface, but is one of the hardest things you will ever master in your life. Be strong, be patient, be calm. This is power, not loud power, not flashy power, real power. The kind of power that holds you together when life is doing everything it can to pull you apart. See, most people think power is about how much noise you can make, how fast you can react, how quick you are to prove somebody wrong. But I've learned this the hard way. The strongest people I've ever met were not the ones who talked the most. They were the ones who could stand still when everything around them was shaking. Strength is not yelling back when you're disrespected. Strength is not showing everybody how angry you are. Strength is knowing who you are so deeply that nobody can push you out of character. You're going to be tested. Let me just tell you that right now. Life is not going to politely ask you if you're ready. It's going to hit you when you're tired, when you're broke, when you're confused, when you're praying and wondering why the answer hasn't come yet. And in those moments, strength is waking up anyway. Strength is showing up anyway. Strength is saying, I don't feel like it, but I'm not quitting. Now, patience, oh Lord, patience is where most people lose the battle. We want it now. We want success fast, blessings fast, answers fast. But let me tell you something I had to learn. Delay is not denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet does not mean it's not on the way. Some of the greatest things God is preparing for you require time to develop you first. If you got it too early, you'd lose it. If you got it too fast, you wouldn't appreciate it. Patience is the proof that you trust the process even when you can't see the outcome. And while you're being strong and patient, here comes the hardest part: stay calm. Calm is not weakness. Calm is control. Calm is when you could react, but you choose not to. Calm is when you understand that not every battle deserves your energy. Some arguments will drain you. Some people are sent into your life just to see if they can steal your peace. And once you understand that your peace is priceless, you stop handing it out to anything that disturbs it. Let me tell you something about strength, because most people got it twisted. They think strength is raising your voice, flexing your authority, proving you're the toughest person in the room. That ain't strength. That's insecurity dressed up like confidence. Real strength is self-control. It's the ability to manage yourself when everything inside you wants to react. It's staying grounded when emotions are running high, when somebody presses your buttons on purpose, when life throws something at you that feels unfair. See, anybody can lose their temper. Anybody can snap, curse, walk away angry, or make a decision in the heat of the moment. That's easy. What's hard is pausing. What's hard is breathing. What's hard is saying, I'm not going to let this moment control me. Strength shows up when you don't give people the reaction they're fishing for. Some folks poke you not because they're strong, but because they want to see you lose control. When you don't, you win without saying a word. I've learned in my life that the loudest person in the room is usually the weakest one. They need attention. They need validation. They need to feel powerful. But the strongest person, they're calm. They're observant. They choose their words carefully because they understand words have consequences. Strength is knowing that once something leaves your mouth, you can't take it back. Once an action is done, you can't rewind it. So you think before you move. That takes discipline. Self-control is strength because it protects your future. One emotional outburst can cost you a job, a relationship, a reputation you spent years building. One reckless decision can undo progress you prayed for. Strong people understand that feelings are temporary, but consequences can be permanent. So they don't let a temporary emotion ruin a permanent opportunity. Strength also means standing firm without becoming bitter. Life will disappoint you. People will betray you. Things won't go the way you planned. Weakness says, I'll harden my heart, I'll lash out, I'll become cold. Strength says, I'll feel the pain, but I won't let it turn me into someone I'm not. That takes courage. That takes maturity. That takes power. And don't get it confused. Self-control doesn't mean you're passive. It doesn't mean you let people walk over you. It means you choose when and how to respond. You don't react out of impulse. You respond with intention. You know when to speak and when silence is louder. You know when to walk away and when to stand your ground. That kind of awareness separates leaders from followers. Strong people don't need to prove anything to anybody. They're secure in who they are. They don't chase validation. They don't argue with fools. They don't explain themselves to people who already decided not to understand them. They move with purpose, and they let results speak. Let me say this to you: if you can control your mouth, your temper, your impulses, and your reactions, you are already ahead of most people. The world is full of talented individuals who never made it because they lacked self-control. Talent will get you noticed, but strength will keep you there. So the next time you feel anger rising, pause. The next time you want to react immediately, wait. The next time someone tries to pull you into chaos, remember this: you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Walk away stronger, calmer, and still in control. That's not weakness. That's power. XPND 2KY audio on 600 war Diaz Ichi Diam in Takokyo. And let me talk to you about patience, because patience is not passive, and it is not weakness. Patience is one of the strongest decisions you will ever make. It's choosing to trust the process when nothing around you seems to be moving. It's waking up every day, doing the right thing, and still not seeing results, yet refusing to quit. That takes more strength than most people will ever understand. We live in a world that rewards speed. Everybody wants quick success, overnight fame, instant money, fast answers. But life doesn't work like that. Growth takes time. Healing takes time. Mastery takes time. And the reason patience is so powerful is because it proves you can handle the waiting season without losing your character. Anybody can behave when things are going their way. The real test is how you act when the door stays closed longer than you expected. I had to learn that some delays are actually protection. You think you're ready, but life is still preparing you. You think you deserve it now, but you're missing a lesson that will help you keep it later. If you got everything you asked for the moment you asked for it, some of it would destroy you. Patience gives you time to grow into the person who can sustain the blessing. Patience also teaches discipline. It teaches you to keep showing up even when motivation is gone. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline is built in the waiting. Every day you don't see progress, you're actually building consistency. Every quiet season is shaping your mindset. You're learning how to trust yourself, how to stay focused, how to work without applause. And that's a skill most people never develop. Let me tell you something real. Impatience makes people desperate, and desperate people make bad decisions. They rush into relationships they're not ready for. They take shortcuts that cost them later. They settle for less because they're tired of waiting. Patience protects you from selling your future for temporary relief. When you're patient, you don't panic when things slow down. You don't compare your timeline to somebody else's highlight reel. You understand that everybody's journey is different. Somebody else's success doesn't delay yours. Somebody else's breakthrough doesn't block your blessing. What's meant for you will arrive on time, your time. Patience also strengthens your faith. It forces you to believe without evidence. It teaches you how to walk by trust instead of sight. When you keep doing the right thing without immediate results, you're developing an inner confidence that no setback can shake. You stop needing constant reassurance because you know you're planted, and planted things grow quietly before they grow publicly. A patient person is dangerous in the best way. They don't rush. They don't fold under pressure. They don't abandon the plan when it gets uncomfortable. They understand that consistency beats intensity every time. Slow progress is still progress, and quitting guarantees failure. So when life tells you to wait, don't complain. Don't rush the process. Don't force doors that aren't open yet. Stay steady. Stay focused. Keep doing the work when nobody's watching. Because patience is not about doing nothing. It's about doing the right thing long enough for it to work. Let me talk to you about being calm, because calm is one of the most misunderstood forms of power there is. People think if you stay calm, you're weak, you're scared, or you don't care. That's not true. Calm means you're in control. Calm means you understand that emotions are powerful, and if you don't manage them, they will manage you. Staying calm in a world that thrives on chaos is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. Most mistakes in life are not made because people didn't know better. They're made because people reacted instead of thinking. Anger, fear, frustration, these emotions show up fast and they cloud judgment. When you're calm, you create space between what happens and how you respond. That space is where wisdom lies. That pause is where you decide whether this moment will help you or hurt you. Being calm doesn't mean you suppress your feelings. It means you acknowledge them without letting them take over. You can feel angry and still choose not to explode. You can feel hurt and still speak with respect. You can feel pressure and still think clearly. Calm is emotional intelligence in action. It's knowing that just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to act on it. I've seen people talk themselves out of opportunities because they couldn't stay calm under pressure. Job interviews, business deals, relationships. One emotional reaction can change everything. Calm people listen more than they talk. They observe before they decide. They don't interrupt their own success with unnecessary drama. Calm also protects your energy. There are people who thrive on provoking reactions. They want you upset, confused, distracted. When you stay calm, you deny them access to your peace. And once you realize your peace is valuable, you stop giving it away for free. Not every comment deserves a response. Not every situation deserves your emotional investment. Staying calm helps you see the bigger picture. When emotions run high, vision runs low. You focus on winning the argument instead of winning in life. Calm brings perspective. It reminds you that some battles are distractions, not tests of your strength. Walking away doesn't mean you lost. It often means you were smart enough to protect your future. Calm people are trusted. Others feel safe around them. Leaders who stay calm in crisis inspire confidence. When everyone else is panicking, the calm person becomes the anchor. That's real influence. That's real power. Anybody can be calm when things are easy. The real challenge is staying calm when you're disrespected, misunderstood, or under pressure. Let me tell you something important. Calm is not natural, it's trained. You train calm by breathing instead of reacting, by listening instead of interrupting, by pausing instead of exploding. Every time you choose calm, you're strengthening your self-control muscle. Over time, what used to trigger you no longer has power over you. When you master calm, you don't rush decisions. You don't speak out of anger. You don't let temporary emotions dictate permanent outcomes. You move with clarity, and clarity gives you an advantage. In a noisy world, calm stands out. In a reactive world, calm leads. If you can stay calm when life tests you, when people provoke you, when things don't go your way, you gain something priceless: control over yourself. And anyone who can control themselves cannot be controlled by circumstances. Let me talk to you about controlling your reactions, because your reaction to a situation often matters more than the situation itself. Life is unpredictable. People will disappoint you. Plans will fail. Things will go wrong at the worst possible time. You don't always get to choose what happens to you, but you always get to choose how you respond. That choice is where your power lies. Most people give their power away without realizing it. Somebody says something disrespectful, and instantly they react. Somebody cuts them off, and their whole mood changes. Somebody doubts them, and they feel the need to prove themselves. The moment you react without thinking, you hand control to the outside world. You let someone else decide your emotions. That's not strength, that's surrender. Strong people pause. They don't rush to defend themselves. They don't feel the need to explain their value to people who don't respect it. They understand that reacting emotionally often creates more problems than it solves. A calm response, or sometimes no response at all, keeps you in control and protects your dignity. Your reaction can either escalate a situation or end it. One careless word can turn a small disagreement into a major conflict. One emotional decision can close doors that were meant to open. That's why wisdom is not just knowing what to do, but knowing when to do nothing. Silence, when used correctly, can be louder than any argument. Controlling your reactions also builds resilience. When you stop letting every inconvenience upset you, you become harder to break. Life stops feeling like an attack and starts feeling like a challenge you're equipped to handle. You don't waste energy on things you can't control. Instead, you invest it in things that move you forward. Let me tell you something real. Reacting feels good in the moment, but it costs you later. It gives temporary relief but long-term regret. Self-control, on the other hand, may feel uncomfortable at first, but it saves you from consequences you don't want to pay for. The strongest people are not those who never feel emotion, but those who can feel it without being ruled by it. When you control your reactions, you gain respect, even from people who don't like you. They may not agree with you, but they can't manipulate you. They can't bait you. They can't throw you off your path. You become steady, and steadiness is intimidating in a world full of chaos. This kind of control takes practice. You won't master it overnight. You'll mess up. You'll react sometimes and regret it later. But every time you catch yourself, every time you pause instead of reacting, you're building a stronger version of yourself. Growth is not about perfection, it's about progress. The truth is, life will always test you. There will always be pressure, criticism, and unexpected obstacles. But if you can train yourself to respond with thought instead of impulse, you rise above the situation. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming the architect of your own behavior. When you learn to control your reactions, you protect your peace, your purpose, and your future. That is real maturity. That is real strength. And that level of self-mastery is a form of power that no one can take away from you. Let me talk to you about inner discipline, because inner discipline is what separates people who talk about change from people who actually change their lives. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. It's showing up when nobody is clapping for you. It's choosing growth over comfort, long-term vision over short-term pleasure. That's not easy, and that's why most people avoid it. See, motivation is unreliable. Some days you wake up inspired, ready to conquer the world. Other days you're tired, discouraged, doubting yourself. If you only move when you feel motivated, you'll live a life full of starts but no finishes. Discipline doesn't wait on feelings. Discipline moves anyway. It understands that feelings change, but commitment must stay consistent. Inner discipline is quiet. Nobody sees it. Nobody celebrates it. It's the alarm you don't snooze. It's the work you do when no one is watching. It's saying no to distractions that feel good now but cost you later. Most people want the results of discipline without the lifestyle of discipline. They want success, respect, confidence, and stability, but they don't want the daily habits that create them. Discipline also requires sacrifice. You can't have everything. Every yes is a no to something else. When you say yes to your purpose, you say no to laziness. When you say yes to growth, you say no to excuses. And excuses are dangerous because they sound reasonable. They make you feel justified while keeping you stuck. Discipline removes excuses and replaces them with responsibility. Let me tell you something important. Discipline builds self-trust. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence grows. Every time you quit on yourself, it shrinks. Strong people trust themselves because they've proven to themselves over and over again that they will do the work even when it's hard. That kind of confidence can't be faked. Inner discipline also protects you from regret. Regret comes from knowing you could have done more, but didn't. You could have tried harder, but chose comfort instead. Discipline helps you look back and say, I gave it my best. Even if things don't work out exactly how you planned, you'll have peace knowing you didn't quit on yourself. This world will constantly tempt you to take shortcuts. Easy money, easy validation, easy comfort. But shortcuts cut short your growth. They leave you unprepared for the responsibility that comes with real success. Discipline prepares you. It strengthens your character. So when opportunities show up, you're ready to handle them. Discipline doesn't mean you never rest. It means you rest with intention, not avoidance. It means you recharge so you can return stronger, not escape because you're overwhelmed. There's a difference between rest and quitting, and disciplined people know when to do each. At some point, you have to decide who you want to become. That decision shows up in your daily choices, not your words. Inner discipline is choosing that person every single day, even when it's uncomfortable, even when progress is slow, even when nobody notices. Because in the end, discipline doesn't just change what you do, it changes who you are. Let me talk to you about emotional mastery, because emotional mastery is the final level of real power. It's when you stop being controlled by what you feel and start using what you feel as information, not instruction. Most people live at the mercy of their emotions. If they feel good, they move forward. If they feel bad, they shut down. That cycle keeps them stuck. Emotional mastery breaks it. Emotions are not the enemy. They are signals. Anger tells you something feels wrong. Fear tells you something matters. Sadness tells you something needs healing. But the problem comes when you let emotions make decisions for you. Decisions made in anger, fear, or frustration often come with consequences you never intended. Mastery means you pause long enough to ask, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Before you act. When you master your emotions, you stop overreacting. You stop taking everything personally. You realize that not everything is about you, and not every comment is an attack. That awareness alone will save you years of stress. You don't waste energy defending yourself against imagined threats. You save your strength for what actually matters. Emotional mastery also helps you stay consistent. Life will test your patience, your confidence, and your belief in yourself. There will be days when you feel like quitting, days when doubt is loud, days when nothing seems to be working. If you let your emotions decide, you'll quit too early. Mastery means you keep moving even when your feelings tell you to stop. One of the biggest signs of emotional strength is restraint. You don't say everything you think. You don't act on every urge. You understand that maturity is knowing the difference between what you feel and what you should do. That restraint protects your relationships, your reputation, and your future. Let me tell you something powerful. When you master your emotions, other people lose the ability to control you. They can't manipulate you with words. They can't bait you into arguments. They can't throw you off your path with negativity. You become steady, and steady people are dangerous in a world that thrives on reactions. Emotional mastery also deepens your self-respect. You stop apologizing for things you didn't do. You stop chasing approval. You stop needing constant validation. You know who you are, and you're comfortable standing alone if necessary. That confidence